Hello, Packers fans, and welcome to your morning edition of the Pack Attack Cast brought to you by Fans for Fans. It is August 29th, 2025, and the world has turned on its head for the Green Bay Packers and their fans. Micah Parsons is now a member of the Green Bay Packers in exchange for 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark. Before we get to that news, let's do some business first. We're at 8,600 subs, and we're trying to get 9,000 by week 1 Packers versus Lions. If you've not subbed yet and you're happy that Micah Parsons is a Packer, give us a sub to show us how happy you are that Micah Parsons is a Packer. If you're already subbed, give us a like if you think Micah Parsons is going to be a great Packer. I'm open to any and all notifications of affirmative approval of this trade. Whether you want to give us a sub or give us a like, give us something to show that you're excited that Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer. First of all, I want to pause and talk about Kenny Clark for a minute before we get into Micah Parsons. Kenny Clark has been an ultimate professional for the Green Bay Packers. He's been a 9-year player for the Green Bay Packers. He's the last Ted Thompson draft pick on this roster, and no more. Everything on the roster is now a Brian Gutekunst pick, trade, or signing. So it's the end of an era, so to speak, and perhaps a beginning of an exciting era for the Green Bay Packers. Let me start out by saying this is an amazing deal, and I did not think this was going to happen. In fact, yesterday afternoon, I was in the process of recording a video, spent half hour on that, about how a trade was never going to happen. The Cowboys were never going to give up Micah Parsons for the asking price, that they would be foolish to make any deal for Micah Parsons. They should just sign him and get on with their lives. And wouldn't you know it, this happened literally 5 minutes before I was about to post that video. I almost had my own Michael Irvin moment. Michael Irvin yesterday classically said, there's no way Micah Parsons is going to get traded. And then he immediately gets traded like within a half hour of Michael Irvin saying that. So I almost had a similar moment with Michael Irvin. It's not very often I could say I was in the same headspace as Michael Irvin, but it was true because I didn't think this deal was going to happen. So Micah Parsons is a game changer for our defense. He's going to immediately resolve pass rush concerns. I shouldn't say immediately. It's probably going to take a couple weeks for them to really get him into the full mix. But I guarantee you on third downs against the Lions, Micah Parsons will be out there unless he's not medically cleared to play. I'm pretty sure his back injury got a lot better once he signed that contract. Micah Parsons was bending over to sign that contract for the Packers, and my back, it just snapped, and now I'm perfectly fine. There will be a ramp up. He has to learn the defense, or to be more exact, Jeff Hafley is going to have to recreate the defense with Micah Parsons in mind. But I do think that Micah Parsons, assuming he's cleared for injury, will be playing week 1 against the Lions on obvious passing downs. I think if it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6 maybe even, you put Micah Parsons on the field and say, go get Jared Goff. And I think it will be just fine. And I think they will get some solid production from him even week 1. Now, the bigger problem that we need to talk about is we have a Kenny Clark size hole in the middle of our defense. And that's something that the Packers are going to have to address either with the players that they have on the roster, or they're going to have to trade for a defensive tackle maybe this week or in the next couple weeks. If they can't find a solution on the roster, they might have to find a solution outside of the roster. Now, we do have some young defensive tackles who we can throw out there week one. We kind of have to, and see what works. And we're going to talk about that a little bit right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to PFF right now, and we're going to look at the impact of Micah Parsons on this defense and how the Packers can try to adjust for the loss of Kenny Clark this late in the season. Don't take my negativity about losing Kenny Clark as saying as I'm not fully on board with this trade. I think the draft compensation was ridiculously cheap. 2 first-round picks, that's a given for a player of Micah Parsons' stature. But putting Kenny Clark into the deal, which is a player that we probably would have lost last year due to the salary cap anyways, makes it basically just 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark for 1 season. Would I rather have Kenny Clark or Micah Parsons this season? I think you know the answer to that. So it's a no-brainer to me. The draft picks, the reality is the first round is a crapshoot, especially when you're drafting at the end of the first round, as the Packers tend to do. And I think Micah Parsons is only going to make that draft pick later and later, barring some sort of crazy situation for the Packers this year. So you're talking about 2 late first-round picks for a generational player at the prime of his career in Micah Parsons. So for me, it's very much a no-brainer. But let's take a look. We're going to switch over to PFF now. I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to take a look at how Micah Parsons impacts this defense and how we're going to adjust for the loss of Kenny Clark. So let's do that right now. Okay, let's make this a little bigger for you. We're doing this on the fly. Let's put it at 150%. Okay. You need to see PFF more than I need to see, than you need to see me. Let's put it that way. So PFF, I have a love-hate relationship with. Some of the ratings I never understand. Some of the ratings are helpful, some of them are not, but it's a good tool to use for analysis. Okay, so I wanted to start out at this screen right here. This screen shows us that Micah Parsons is the 6th ranked edge player out of 119. But that doesn't really tell the full story, because Micah Parsons missed a bunch of games. Last year, he missed 4 games. Jerry Jones, he missed 4 games, not 6, just so you know. Otherwise, he'd probably be 3rd or 4th out of 119. And that doesn't tell you the whole picture, because Micah Parsons isn't just an edge player. He can play anywhere on the defense in the front 7. Okay? He could play at linebacker. He could play defensive tackle if you want to get a pass rush up the middle. He could play at linebacker and rush the quarterback. There's infinite ways that he could be used. And Jeff Hafley is the perfect defensive coordinator to figure out fun ways to put Micah Parsons in situations where he can win. The Green Bay Packers can basically put Micah Parsons against the biggest weakness of an opponent and say, go get the quarterback. So, for example, for the game against the Lions, I think he's going to be in, as I said, on clear passing downs only, because they have to build him into the defense. And I think that might take a week or 2. But Micah Parsons on clear passing downs is still not a bad thing by any stretch. So They might put him at linebacker and have him rush the weak interior line of the Lions. How would you like to be a new starter for the Detroit Lions and looking across the line of scrimmage at Micah Parsons and he's licking his lips and he's going to be coming right at you? That would be terrifying. They can use him on the edge. They can use him in various ways. They can use him in stunt moves with other members of the defensive line. There's endless ways you can use Micah Parsons. But I think the first week we're going to see it primarily on passing downs, assuming he's okay to play. And it's going to be a no-brainer that there are two things are going to happen against the Lions. Okay, I feel like Micah Parsons will make a few plays that will impact the game. But if I was the Detroit Lions and I say, oh, Micah Parsons is now a member of the Packers, well, I'm going to try to run the ball up the middle as much as possible where Kenny Clark used to be. Now, that's also the weakness, in my opinion, of the Lions' offensive line. So those two might cancel each other out the first week. We might have average guards going up against average defensive tackles in the middle, and it might just be a wash. We're going to have to see what happens there. But as you can see, Micah Parsons, 90% pass rusher, 91.6 pass rusher. He immediately becomes the best pass rusher on our team. But more importantly, he's going to make Rashawn Gary better, because Rashawn Gary historically has been double teamed ever since he became a Green Bay Packer. Like after year 3, once he became a quality starter, Rashawn Gary's always been double teamed. So now we have a situation where Rashawn Gary is not going to be double teamed anymore because they're going to be trying to find ways to stop Micah Parsons. So Rashawn Gary instantly gets better. Lucas Van Ness, when he's in the game, is going to get better. And let's talk a little bit about the interior defenders now. All right, so we're going to switch over to the interior defenders. I'm doing this on the fly. Okay, let's look at our interior defenders, and the weakness I see here is run defense. Run defense, most likely, I think Wooden is probably going to be the big body that they put in week 1 at 273 and 6'4". They can also put some Carl Brooks in there. Devontae Wyatt, I think, is going to become more of a big body in the center instead of a pass rusher. But another thing I want to point out that I really haven't heard a lot of people talk about is that Lucas Van Ness is actually a former defensive tackle. He started out at a defensive tackle when he came into the league. That's what he played. So can you use occasionally Lucas Van Ness as a defensive tackle? I think 100% the Packers can. So imagine a world, okay? It's 3rd down against the Lions. All right? You can put Micah Parsons on one side, Rashawn Gary on the other side. You can have Lucas Van Ness rushing the pocket from the defensive tackle spot, and suddenly you've got 3 very good pass rushers going up against Jared Goff. Now, the trick is the Packers are going to have to find ways to get into 3rd and long by finding a way to stop the run. So that's my biggest concern right now. So let's look at the lineup here. We're going to look at the defense. It's so crazy to see Micah Parsons in the Green Bay Packers defense, right? So I think you're going to have Wyatt in there for sure at defensive tackle. And you're going to have a combination of Brooks, Wooden, Lucas Van Ness, probably at the other right tackle spot. And what we want to do is we want to find ways to stop the run in the middle of this defensive line with the players that we have available on the roster. Could they occasionally throw Stackhouse and Brinson in here? Sure, they could. So they basically have a week to figure out how they can stop the pass rush up the center with the players on the roster. Now, one good thing they do have is they have Josh Jacobs on offense, right? So if I'm Jeff Hafley, I'm telling Matt LaFleur, we need to spend a lot of time this week on figuring out who's going to be the best pass stoppers in the defensive tackle spot. Who can be in there and be serviceable on early downs? Because I know Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell is not going to back off from a challenge. And next week at Lambeau Field, the Lions are going to run the ball up the middle until the Packers show that you can't do that. Now, in addition to finding defensive line players that your best defensive line players on early downs to stop the run, you can also give Cooper, McDuffie, and Walker an emphasis on early downs for run defense. That's already going to be their priority, but you can double emphasize it. You can say, look, guys, Micah Parsons is going to do his thing. You guys need to help even more stopping the run. Now, the Packers were very good against the run in the preseason. That was one of the strengths of the preseason, is they were very good against the run. So if they could take that positive energy, and a lot of that was with Kenny Clark not in the lineup, you'll say, but yeah, it wasn't Jamar Gibbs. Yes, I know. But still, I still think there's enough pieces in the defensive line that they can get through this game against the Lions and try to figure out where they can stop the run. Another thing that you can do on very early downs is you can have Williams come down and help against the run as well. Let's look at nickel now. So base we've kind of covered. So the Packers have to figure out who they can put in where Kenny Clark was to give you the best run defense possible. That might be Stackhouse. That might be Brinson, because they're just big bodies that are going to be in there clogging up the lane. And then you have the rest of the defensive line and your linebackers try to clean up what gets past the defensive tackle here. No one's going to replace Kenny Clark. But Micah Parsons elevates your defense so much, and let's talk about that really quickly here, okay? Everybody's been worried about Hobbs and Nixon and Valentine. I actually feel that they're going to be solid this year. But Micah Parsons is going to cause chaos for the quarterback. Every passing down, Micah Parsons going after the quarterback. The quarterback's going to have to worry about where Micah Parsons is as much as he's worrying about looking at his receivers. They're going to be sliding coverage around. They're going to be trying to get rid of the ball as quickly as possible. And that all helps your secondary, okay? The faster the quarterback has to get rid of the ball, either due to pressure or perceived pressure, that helps your secondary cover for a shorter period of time. So that really helps the secondary. So let's look at the nickel now. We're going to take a look at the nickel. All right, so in the nickel, Parsons here on the outside, but he could be anywhere. He could be here. He could be here. Well, he probably won't. They probably won't take Cooper or Walker off the field for Parsons. So what they'll probably do is keep Parsons on the edge most of the time on clear passing downs. Wouldn't surprise me, as I said earlier, if instead of Brooks here, you have Lucas Van Ness rushing the interior. So you've got Parsons and Gary, Lucas Van Ness, and then Wyatt. I think that would be a great combination for third down on obvious passing downs to put those three pass rushers out on the field. Okay. This is a little off because I think you would have Hobbs in the slot, you would have Valentine come out, but it still gives us an illustration about how effective the Packers can be. So, I like to use PFF as a tool, but another thing I like to use, and it's just a lot of fun, is Madden. So we're going to switch over to Madden now, and we're going to take a look at what the Green Bay Packers could look like week 1 against the Lions with a little Madden. So I like to use PFF as a tool, but I also like to use Madden a lot as a tool. Now, funny thing, I tried several times to make this trade happen in Madden, and they kept telling me, invalid trade, you weren't giving us enough for Micah Parsons. So what I had to do, those of you that have Madden that want to put Parsons on your team, you actually have to change Micah Parsons to another position to make it possible to trade Micah Parsons because he's so valuable. So I actually traded him to a cornerback, and he's actually an 86th rated cornerback, if you can believe that, in Madden. So we're going to take a look at our depth chart here. Now, I've got a couple injuries from the preseason that I simulated. So let's look at defensive tackle. I've got Carl Brooks and I've got Wyatt in here just because Carl Brooks is rated higher than Wooden. But I think Wooden is probably the most likely player to play in here with Wyatt. But I'm trying to simulate by putting our best players on the board on the field. Okay? So I've got Parsons at left end. I've got Rashawn Gary at right end. And let's just take some time and see how this plays out, okay? So we're going to play Madden here. Let's look at our messages real quick. First week of the season. We're worried about stopping the running game and Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay, so that's very important. So that's very realistic. So let's actually play. Let's see. Go to weekly strategy. I got to do my weekly strategy real quick. We're going to simulate training. Okay. We're going to upgrade our players here. All right. We're just going to do automatic upgrades here. I think it's Y. Auto upgrade all players. I just want to get to the game, guys, because I want to see what... I haven't done this yet, but I want to see what Micah Parsons does for our defense, number one, including helping our secondary hold up against the Lions receivers. I also want to see what our defense does to stop the pass rush up the middle. So let's get into the simulation here. So if you just came for the analysis and the Micah Parsons talk, you can go ahead and step away now. We're just going to play some Madden, and we're going to simulate the impact of Micah Parsons into our defense. It's not going to do any justice because Micah Parsons is not going to move around. But I just want to play this game. Wait, we should be set at 10-minute quarters. That's fine. We're not going to worry about it. We're just doing this for simulation right now. But I should have been set for 10-minute quarters. It's okay. Not a big deal. Don't even know if we're going to play the whole game. I just want to play on defense for a while and just see what Micah Parsons will do for us. So we're just going to focus in on, I mean, we're on offense first, so we're going to have to score some points here. But then I want to see how our defense does against the Lions offense. Okay, got our first down there. Let's see if we can get better success in the running game here. Now, this is going to be equally important in the game against the Lions. The Packers offense is going to have to be very dominant against the Lions, not just in scoring points, but for taking time off the clock, because the perfect situation to help Micah Parsons get integrated into the defense is if the Packers have a strong offensive showing with lots of running the ball and taking the time off the clock from the Lions. So it's going to be hand in hand. The offense needs to say, you know what? Run defense, we got you. We're going to get some extra time off the clock. We're going to put some more points on the scoreboard. And we're going to do everything we can to offset the fact that you're not going to have Kenny Clark in the middle of that defense, because it is going to be impactful. The Packers are going to have to make a big adjustment. But you know what? Kenny Clark is a great run defender, but he's not a game... Oh, that hole closed up quickly. He's not a game changer. I'm going to go to my bread and butter plays here. I'm not being very imaginative with my offense here. Just trying to get some points. And move the chains. So this is what the Packers offense is going to have to do against the Lions. They're going to have to control the ball, control the clock as much as they can, and give the Lions as little opportunities on offense as possible, especially in situations where the Lions are going to be looking to run the ball, okay? So it's going to be a lot of hopefully playing with the lead and limiting how much the Lions can just run the ball down the Packers' throats. Because until the Packers show they can stop the run, I guarantee you the Lions are going to run the ball up the middle. Now, as I said earlier, the interior of the Lions' offensive line is their weakness. So if they're going to try to take advantage of weak run defense in the interior of the defensive line, they're actually going to take their weakness and use it against the Packers' weakness. So could that end up looking more like a draw? then I think right now it's certainly possible. Okay. Oh, Aiden Hutchinson is knocked out of the game. All right. Certainly could be good for us. Another Lions down. All right, 3rd and goal. What do you think, Coach? What should we do? Oh, all right. All right, not a bad play call. 3rd and goal. Yes, Tucker Kraft for the touchdown. Ugh, horrible kick. Oh my God, that was a horrible kick. All right. Thank God we're just doing a simulation. I'm not sure what happened there. I just goofed that kick in the worst way. All right, so now we're going to be on defense. This is really what I wanted to see. Are we going to play this whole game out? Maybe, because it's only 6-minute quarters. But I want to see what Micah Parsons can do, and more importantly, how can the Packers try to offset the loss of Kenny Clark? So that's what we're trying to look at here. So one of the things we can do is we can blitz more on early downs, which basically causes the linebackers to fill in and help the defensive tackles up the middle. Okay, play action here. Okay. Oh, look at that Jared Goff pressure from Micah Parsons. You saw that pocket close up, and it resulted in an incomplete pass. Okay. That's the type of thing that we want to see with Micah Parsons. He's causing Jared Goff to let the ball out early. Jared Goff is rushing. All right, we got Quay Walker who came up and supported and stopped that rush right there. So now we're at 3rd and 8. So this is Micah Parsons' time, because we don't have to worry about doing more than rushing 4 anymore. You know why? Because we got Micah Parsons out there. So it's 3rd and 8. The pass rush has got to get off after Jared Goff. Incomplete pass. Okay, so that was probably a 50-50 ball. But if Micah Parsons can cause pressure to the point that the Lions have to rush what they do in the passing game, then it's going to help our corners hold up a lot more than they would if it was just, no offense to Lucas Van Ness, but Lucas Van Ness out there. Because to say that Micah Parsons isn't an upgrade over Lucas Van Ness is disingenuous. I'm an LVN truther, but I think he's going to make his hay as a defensive tackle this year. I think they're going to move him in on key passing downs as a defensive tackle, and then you're going to have Rashawn Gary, Micah Parsons, and Lucas Van Ness all rushing the quarterback on passing downs. That's what I believe is going to happen. Oh, got that right in there. Threaded the needle on that pass. All right. So again, the offense is going to want to control the ball, take time off the clock, and most importantly, put points on the board, which is going to limit the Lions' ability to just run the ball. Because the Packers are going to be challenged in their run defense until they can show that they can mitigate the impact of Kenny Clark not being there. Can they do that 100%? Don't know. I really don't know. You know, the run defense is going to be a problem without Kenny Clark. There's no way you can't take out. What? A run defender like Kenny Clark and not have a problem with your run defense. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast that you're going to have some run defense problems without Kenny Clark. Now, again, I don't have a problem with the trade because Kenny Clark is a great run defender, but he does not impact the game the way that Micah Parsons does. There's just no way, no conceivable way Kenny Clark can impact the game like Micah Parsons. No shot. All right. Went for the long bong with Kraft there. All right, 3rd and 10. Jordan Love, we do not want to be in 3rd and 10. We want to be controlling the clock here, but that's okay. We can make it work. But this is kind of an example of what the Packers need to do. They need to be very efficient on offense, because if they're just giving the Detroit Lions more possessions than they have in this game, the Detroit Lions are just going to run it down our throat until we can show that we can stop the run. All right, 2-minute warning. I guess we're going to play this whole game because I'm going to have to play this whole game to get enough snaps to try to show you what I want to show you here. Okay. Hey, McNeil's not even supposed to be in there. The game is cheating. All right. I was waiting for players to uncover too long there. That was on me. Pass rush got to me there. All right, that's fine. 43-yard field goal. I got to tell you, my chances of hitting this field goal are pretty low. Oh, God. Oh, wait. Flag? Roughing the kicker? Yes. Roughing the kicker. I'll take it. Roughing the kicker. Bailed out by roughing the kicker. Thank you, Madden. Come on, Jacobs. Come on. We want to get positive yardage. We want to take up as much of the clock as possible here. Oh, Dobbs. That's usually a bread and butter play. Incomplete. All right, it's fine. We'll take the field goal here. I can at least make a field goal from here. Think. Question mark. All right, there we go. 9-0. One good thing about the short quarters is it does emphasize how valuable each possession is. So, all right, 56 seconds left in the half. The Lions have the ball and they have to go 70 yards. So this could be a good example of what Micah Parsons can do for us here. Oh, they went for a run. They're conceding. They're conceding the quarter here. Let's not let them do that. Nope. We're going to call timeouts. If you're just going to try to run out the half, we're going to call timeouts. Let's blitz up the center of the line here, see what happens. So what you could do with your linebackers is you could do lots of run blitzes to try to offset the fact that we don't have the same beef up the middle that we used to have. Okay, there's Micah Parsons. He's out there on the left side. I'll take Wyatt in the middle. Micah Parsons is putting in some good pass rush there. Maybe I shouldn't have called the timeout for them. Okay, come on, Parsons. Get in there. Cause some havoc. Look at that. They're double teaming Micah Parsons right there. Oh, blown tackle. Blown tackle there. Not cool. Second and inches. Screen. All right. It's fine. That took a lot of time off the clock for just a yard. Ha ha! They did not get a field goal attempt off because they were going for a touchdown. All right, here we go. Kickoff middle. But you could see that the Packers now have a much better pass rush with Micah Parsons than they had before. And the Packers can rush with 4 and then defend the run. Oh, there we go. That's the type of thing we have to worry about against the Lions. Just trying to run it down our throats. And the Packers have got to come up with an answer for this between now and game time. You can't be giving up 6 yards on first down in the running game. We can't do that. So we're going to have to come up with some solutions with personnel and scheme to take away these long runs. All right, here we go. 3rd and 8. This is a Micah Parsons down. Right here. Oh, look at that pass rush. Look at that pass rush. Held him to a 4th and 3. Apparently, they're going to go for it on 4th and 3. Okay, so we held them to a short completion on 3rd down. So now it's 4th and 3. And an incomplete pass. All right, so that's just the type of thing we want to see against the Lions. We've got to find ways to stop the run. And we need to be efficient on offense. That was not a good example of being efficient. But we need to keep the ball out of the Lions' hands with long, sustained drives and put points on the board so the Lions can't just rely on running the ball. Pass rush got to me there. First down. Need to get back to the run. Not sure why Matt LaFleur wants to do play action here. We need to take time off the clock. So I'm really excited about being there for the Lions game because it's going to be the first game, fingers crossed, that Micah Parsons plays for the Green Bay Packers. But I'm also concerned about what changing things 9 days before the game significantly is going to do to the Packers in that game. There's going to be some changes, and it's about how the Packers can adjust their game plan to the addition of Micah Parsons and the loss of Kenny Clark. Now, I can tell you right now, it's going to be a lot of Josh Jacobs running the ball and taking time off the clock as much as possible. And then finding ways to have long, sustained drives that put points on the board and put the pressure on the Lions that they can't just run the ball. They're going to have to try to get in the game with the pass, and that's where Micah Parsons can really pay huge dividends. The heck? Call timeout here. I'm not sure what got called. Okay. First and goal at the 6. Marshawn Lloyd shouldn't be in there, but, you know, we're not going to worry about it. Just pretend that that's Wilson in there instead of Lloyd. Again, we're taking the air out of the ball. We're trying to kill time.
It makes sense on second and goal, Mike, to keep this ball on the ground. You always have third down again to finally punch it in. But now after the defense forces you backwards, I think you have to consider putting this one in the air here on third and goal.
Oh, interception. That's okay. I wanted to see some defense anyways. So again, on first down, we know they're going to run the ball. So we're doing a run blitz here. Not good. Not good, Packers. Not good. But again, we're doing 6-minute quarters here, so... Right, but one of the abilities that Micah Parsons gives the Packers defense is we can get pressure by just rushing 4. All right. Nice tackle there from the secondary, giving support against the run. We're going to have to do a lot of that. We're going to have safeties come down into the box sometimes. We're going to have corners make tackles against the run. It's going to be a much more physical defense with Micah Parsons in there. And it's not just going to be come on, Quay. All right. All right. So here we go. We're using a run blitz here. Now they're probably inclined. Nope, they went for the run. So run blitz there. Stops the run. And then we're going to go to a cover look. Cover 3. And we're just going to let Micah Parsons and the defensive line go after Jared Goff here. There you go. There you go. That was a good example of keeping Jared Goff in the pocket and pushing the whole pocket back into his lap and getting a sack. More pressure. Love it. All right, now they're at 4th and 29. So we're going to go to a cover 3 buzz look. And we're just going to rush 4. He's going to have to hold on to the ball forever to get a first down here. Forever. Look at the pass rush coming in. Dumps it off short. And there you go. Game over. We can actually get a first down at the goal line. That's crazy. All right, we're just going to run it in here. So we're going to end the stream here, but what I wanted to do is kind of look at the different ways that the Packers can manage their run defense without Kenny Clark. It's going to be a very different situation, and we're going to have to see what the Packers can do. But I just wanted to simulate a little Madden there, have some fun. We saw Micah Parsons put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, which is what we want to see. So that was fun. So we'll see you for another edition of the Pack Attack Cast tomorrow. I'm going to dive even deeper into possible solutions for the loss of Kenny Clark. Now, a lot of people are probably going to say, wait, you're talking about Kenny Clark a lot. I mean, he is the biggest impact of this trade right now that's a negative for the Packers. Is the Packers have to find ways to offset the loss of Kenny Clark. They're not going to be able to do it 100%, but if they can have 75% of the run defense they had with Kenny Clark and add Micah Parsons on passing downs, that's going to be a huge benefit for the Packers, and I think it's going to end up being a positive overall. If you look at the sports books, they clearly believe that the Packers have gone up a level in ability with the addition of Micah Parsons. And I always say follow the money when you're trying to figure out if it was a good trade or a bad trade. Vegas definitely feels like the Packers are better today than they were yesterday, and I agree with them. And we're just going to have to see how the Packers spend the next 8 days adjusting to the addition. So we're going to be back later this afternoon. I'm sure there's going to be press conferences later that we can watch and discuss together. So stay tuned for that. Give us a subscribe, and we'll see you later. As always, go Pack Go, and go Micah Parsons.